Dear students, in this session we will be discussing in detail about network hardware and software. In its simplest form, a computer network is a system of one or more interconnected computer systems that share resources. As we know, the internet is the network of all networks. It consists of millions of interconnected individual computers or nodes, as well as computer networks across the entire world. The Internet uses standard networking protocols, TCP/IP for communication, and being in the public domain is free for all users. Different hardware and software components, technologies, and configurations form a network. The term network infrastructure refers to all the different components that go into building a computer network. Hardware refers to the actual physical parts used in building a network. Network hardware uses cables to connect the different devices for a wired network, and junction boxes like routers, switches, and gateways. Network address cards are usually part of the connecting device, although sometimes a terminal adapter might be necessary to connect. Software, unlike hardware, does not have any physical components but is comprised of programs that run on the hardware. Software performs functions like testing a network, monitoring and controlling a network, and securing a network from intrusions and malware. The operating system needs to be compatible with the kind of network it is connected to. Look at the picture shown here. From this, you will be able to appreciate computer communication or a computer network process in which two or more computers or devices transfer data, instruction, and information happen in computer communication. Now, to answer a very important question, what is required for a successful communication? A successful communication can be defined as when the receiver gets the same message or data from the sender without any distortion or loss. This is very important to have a reliable transformation of data. Successful communications require a sending device that initiates a transmission instruction, a communications device that connects the sending device to a communications channel, a communications channel on which the data travels, a communications device that connects the communications channel to a receiving device, and a receiving device that accepts the transmission of data, instructions, or information. All types of computers and mobile devices serve as sending and receiving devices in a communications system. A network is a collection of computers and devices connected together via communications devices and transmission media. Advantages of using a network include facilitating communications, sharing hardware, sharing data and information, sharing software, and transferring funds. Networks typically are classified as a local area network which connects computers and devices in a limited geographical area. A metropolitan area network, which is a high-speed network that connects local area networks in a larger area such as a city or town. or a wide area network, which covers a large geographic area using a communications channel that combines many types of media. Computer networks can be classified in different ways. One way of classifying networks is by geographical distance between the different components. In a local area network, the component systems are in close proximity, perhaps within a room or building, while a metropolitan area network is spread out over a larger distance like a town, city, or university campus. MANs are comprised of interconnected smaller LANs and are likely to be slower and less secure than LANs. When the network hardware spreads out over a very large distance across different cities, it is necessary to connect several smaller LANs into a wide area network. An example of an enterprise WAN might be a network connecting the company's main office and the branch offices while sharing services like cloud storage. Today, with the exponential increase in mobile computing, more and more networks communicate without physical cables. Instead, they use radio waves and additional technologies like Wi-Fi or 5G to connect the internet or other networks. Wireless networks are convenient because they allow users to connect from any place, like an airport or neighborhood coffee shop, but wired networks are more reliable and can be faster than wireless networks. A wide area network is a telecommunications network that extends over a large geographic area for the primary purpose of computer networking. Wide area networks are often established with leased telecommunication circuits. Network that covers large geographic area using many types of media. Internet is world's largest WAN. One or more computers act as a server and other computers or clients access the server, and this is called as a client-server network. A client-server network is the medium through which clients access resources and services from a central computer via either a local area network or a wide area network such as the internet. Examples of client-server systems on the internet include web browsers and web servers, FTP clients and servers, and the domain name system. The client-server model is the relationship between two computers in which one, the client, makes a service request from another, the server. The key point about a client-server model is that the client is dependent on the server to provide and manage the information. For example, websites are stored on web servers. A peer-to-peer network is a simple network that connects fewer than 10 computers. Each computer or a peer has equal capabilities. Peer-to-peer computing or networking is a distributed application architecture that partitions tasks or workloads between the peers. Peers are equally privileged and they get the equal participation in the application. They are said to form a peer-to-peer network of nodes. A P2P network enables users to connect to each other's hard disks and exchange files directly. Peer-to-peer network connection in a peer-to-peer networking is a group of computers that are linked together with equal permissions and responsibilities for processing data. Unlike traditional client-server networking, no devices in a P2P network are designated only to serve and to receive data. All computers and devices are connected to a central cable or a bus. A network is a system of interconnected links and nodes. The links are called connections and the nodes are nothing but the devices. These links and nodes arrange in various topologies or a combination of a same. A bus topology is a topology for a local area network in which all the nodes are connected to a single cable. The cable to which the nodes connect is called the backbone. If the backbone is broken, the entire segment fails. In a ring network, the cable forms closed ring or loop with all computers and devices arranged along a ring. Data or information travels from device to device around entire ring in one direction. A ring network is a network topology in which each node connects to exactly two other nodes, forming a single continuous pathway for signals through each node, a ring. Data travels from one node to another, with each node along the way handling every single packet. Let us consider this scenario where node C transmits frame addressed to A. When the frame reaches the B node, it is ignored by B as it is not addressed to B. In the next step, you will see that A copies frame as it passes by A. Finally, C node observes the returning frame. In a star network, every host is connected to a central hub. In its simplest form, one central hub acts as a conduit to transmit messages. The star network is one of the most common computer network topologies. Communication software is an application or program designed to pass information from one system to another. Such software provides remote access to systems and transmits files in a multitude of formats between computers. The public switched telephone network, abbreviated as PSTN, is the aggregate of world's circuit switched telephone networks that are operated by national, regional, or local telephony operators, providing infrastructure and services for public telecommunication. It is a worldwide telephone system that handles voice-oriented telephone calls. Dial-up internet service is a service that allows connectivity to the internet through a standard telephone line. The majority of internet service providers give you a set of telephone numbers, either national or local, that allows you to dial into a network that feeds into the internet. A dial-up connection is established when two or more communication devices use a public switched telephone network (PSTN) to connect to an internet service provider. Many remote areas depend on internet dial-up connections because broadband and cable are rare in remote areas with low population numbers. It costs no more than making a regular call. Computers at any two locations can establish a connection using modems and telephone network. In computer networks and telecommunications, a dedicated line is a communications cable or other facility dedicated to a specific application, in contrast with a shared resource such as the telephone network or the internet. It is a communication path between two points. It is described as always on connection between two communications devices. It is classified in four types that are called ISDN line, DSL, T-carrier line, and ATM. So ISDN stands for Integrated Service Digital Line. DSL is Digital Subscriber Line. T-carrier line is the Digital Transmission Line. And then we have the Asynchronous Transfer Mode, which is ATM. You are seeing different speeds for these classifications in this image. As we know, a communication device is a hardware device having the ability to transmit analog or digital signals over a communication wire or wirelessly. A computer modem is one of the best examples of a communication device. Wi-Fi, NIC, which is also known as the network interface card, are some typical examples of communication devices. Bluetooth device, infrared device, smartphone, or different kinds of communication devices that a user may encounter when dealing with a computer. Without a communication device, a computer can work fine, but for a computer to do communication with other computers, they require a communication device. Dial-up refers to an internet connection that is established using a modem. The modem connects the computer to standard phone lines, which serve as the data transfer medium. After the dial-up connection has been established, it is active until the user disconnects from the ISP. An ISDN modem sends digital data and information from a computer to an ISDN line and receives digital data and information from an ISDN line. A DSL modem sends digital data and information from a computer to a DSL line and receives digital data and information from a DSL line. ISDN and DSL work over the same kind of network, but the main difference is that the ISDN has to actually dial out to achieve a connection for data to flow through. DSL does not need to dial out, and as a result, the user can make calls while connected to the internet. A cable modem is a type of network bridge that provides bidirectional data communication via radio frequency channels on a hybrid fiber coaxial radio frequency over glass and coaxial cable infrastructure. It sends and receives data over a cable television network, It is much faster than the dial-up modem or ISDN. It is also sometimes called as the broadband modem. The difference between modem and a router is that modem is a box that connects your home network to a wired internet. A router is a box that lets all of your wired and wireless devices use that internet connection at once and also allows them to talk to one another without having to do so over the internet. A Wi-Fi modem is a single device that combines the functionality of a modem and a router, making it a one-stop shop for internet connectivity. A Wi-Fi modem is a single combined device that translates internet data packets via the modem and sends it through wirelessly to devices in your home via the router. It allows access to the web wirelessly from a notebook computer, a PDA, a smartphone, or other mobile device. It typically uses the same waves used by cellular telephones. When we refer to network hardware, we are talking about a range of electronic devices that can be interconnected in such a way as to allow the transmission of communication signals between a number of workstations. A network interface card, abbreviated as NIC, is a hardware component without which a computer cannot be connected over a network. It is a circuit board installed in a computer that provides a dedicated network connection to the computer. It is also called as the network interface controller, a network adapter, or a LAN adapter. Every workstation and server will contain at least one NIC. NICs contain the electronic components that establish and control network communications. So a network interface controller is a computer hardware component that connects a computer to a computer network. Early network interface controllers were commonly implemented on expansion cards that plugged into a computer bus. To connect two or more computers or networking devices in a network, network cables are used. There are three types of network cables: coaxial, twisted pair, and fiber optic. Network cables are the transmission media to transfer data from one device to another. A commonly used network cable is category 5 cable with RJ45 connector. An Ethernet hub, active hub, network hub, repeater hub, multi-port repeater, or simply hub is a network hardware device for connecting multiple Ethernet devices together and making them act as a single network segment. A hub is a physical layer networking device which is used to connect multiple devices in a network. It is an unintelligent network device. Hubs are one of the most basic pieces of networking equipment available. In telecommunications or in computer networks, a repeater is an electronic device that receives a signal and retransmits it. Repeaters are used to extend transmissions so that the signal can cover longer distances or be received on the other side of an obstruction. It uses no logic in regenerating signals. Thus, data and noise are both regenerated by the repeater. It can be used to extend the range of a single LAN. A network bridge is a computer networking device that creates a single aggregate network from multiple communication networks or network segments. This function is called network bridging, and bridging is distinct from routing. Bridges connect two or more different LANs that has a similar protocol and provides communication between the devices in them. By joining multiple LANs, bridges help in multiplying the network capacity of a single LAN. Since they operate at a data link layer, they transmit data as data frames. A bridge connects two LANs and forwards or filters data packets between them. It creates an extended network in which any two workstations on the linked LANs can share data. Forward data depending on the hardware MAC address, not the network address. which is the IP. Frames are generated at layer 2 of the TCP/IP stack by the network interface device with a payload size that depends on the type of data being transmitted. The frame is sent onto the network where an Ethernet switch checks the destination address of the frame against a MAC lookup table in its memory. Frames have two MAC addresses in their header, the MAC address of the source computer and the MAC address of the destination computer. MAC addresses are also known as physical addresses or hardware addresses. Switch is a network interconnection device with multiple interfaces that accepts a frame from an interface and forwards the frame to the interface corresponding to the MAC destination address in the frame. A switch can allow simultaneous access to multiple servers or multiple simultaneous connections to a single server. It helps prevent data collisions and reduces network congestion, increasing the network performance. The major role of a switch is to isolate traffic patterns and provide multiple access. This design is usually done by the network manager. A full duplex switch allows for simultaneous transmission and reception of data to and from a workstation. This full duplex connection helps to eliminate collisions. To support a full duplex connection to a switch, two sets of wires are required, one for the receive operation and one for the transmit operation. A router is a networking device that forwards data packets between computer networks. Routers perform the traffic directing functions on the internet. Routers connect computers and other devices to the internet. A router acts as a dispatcher, choosing the best route for your information to travel. It connects your business to the world, protects information from security threats, and can even decide which computers get priority over others. They are more sophisticated than bridges, connecting networks of different types, for example, star and the token ring. Routers will allow you to share a single IP address among multiple network clients. A router is a network interconnection device that accepts an IP datagram from an incoming port and forwards the datagram to the outgoing link that corresponds to the IP destination address in the frame. A router accepts an outgoing packet, removes any LAN headers and trailers, and encapsulates the required WAN headers and trailers. Because a router has to make wide area network routing decisions, the router has to dig down into the network layer of the packet to retrieve the network destination address. An IP datagram is a packet of data passed across the network at layer 3 of the network protocol stack. IP datagrams have two IP addresses in their header: the IP address of the source computer and the IP address of the destination computer. At layer 3 and above, IP addresses are used to send messages from one computer to another. IP addresses are software addresses that can be changed according to the network subnet to which they belong. Now you have seen a variety of devices that are used in computer networks and communications. To summarize and to make it easier for you, bridges are for LANs and hubs, switches are for LANs and workstations, routers are for LANs and WANs. You can also see the ways in which these devices are used in the above diagram. A communication channel refers either to a physical transmission medium such as a wire or to a logical connection over a multiplexed medium such as a radio channel in telecommunications and computer networking. Cable or wireline media use physical wires of cables to transmit data and information. Transmission media on which data travels in communication system is communication channel. Now let us see how a request is sent over the internet using a communications channel. If you see the step 1, the sending device requests information using either a physical transmission media or a wireless media. In step 2, when the request leaves the internet service provider, it travels over the T1 lines, microwave stations, earth-based stations, communication satellites until it reaches the internet backbone. In the next step, the request travels over T3 lines along the internet backbone. And finally, the request travels over T1 lines until it reaches the destination network server. A physical transmission media used in communications include twisted pair cable, coaxial cable, and fiber optic cable. These cables typically are used within or underground between buildings. Ethernet and token ring LANs often use physical transmission media. Transmission media acts as a physical interface for communication in networks. Guided transmission media are cables like twisted pair cables, coaxial cables, and fiber optic cables. Unguided transmission media are wireless, such as infrared, radio waves, and microwaves. Twisted pair cable is a type of cabling that's used for telephone communications and most modern Ethernet networks. A pair of wires forms a circuit that can transmit data. The pairs are twisted to provide protection against crosstalk and the noise generated by adjacent pairs. Coaxial cables are copper cables with metal shielding designed to provide immunity against noise and greater bandwidth. Coaxial cables can transmit signals over larger distances at a higher speed as compared to twisted pair cables. So, twisted pair cable is used for telephone systems and network cabling, while coaxial cable is often used for cable television wiring. A fiber optic cable is capable of carrying significantly more data at faster speeds than a wire cable. It is less likely to be affected towards interference, noise, and therefore more secure. It is smaller in size and it is thinner and lighter. Wireless transmission is a form of unguided media. Wireless communication involves no physical link established between two or more devices communicating wirelessly. Wireless signals are spread over in the air and are received and interpreted by appropriate antennas. It is used when inconvenient, impractical, or impossible to install cables. It includes Bluetooth and infrared. The types of wireless transmission media used in the communications include infrared, broadcast radio, cellular radio, microwaves, and communication satellites. Broadcast radio distributes radio signals over long and short distances. Cellular radio is form of broadcast radio used for mobile communications. A microwave link is a communication system that uses a beam of radio waves in the microwave frequency range to transmit video, audio, or data between two locations, which can be from just a few feet or meters to several miles or kilometers apart. Microwaves are electromagnetic waves that with frequencies between 300 MHz and 300 GHz in the electromagnetic spectrum, while the radio waves are electromagnetic waves within the frequencies of 30 kHz to 300 GHz and include microwaves. Earth-based reflective dish are used for microwave communications. It must be transmitted in straight line with no obstructions. A communication satellite is an artificial satellite that relays and amplifies radio telecommunication signals via a transponder. It creates a communication channel between a source transmitter and a receiver at different locations on Earth. This allocation of bands minimizes the risk of signal interference. Communication satellites are designed to relay several or more, usually many signals simultaneously. In some cases, there may be a separate transponder for each carrier. This is typically of broadcasting satellites and of satellites used for distributing television signals to terrestrial broadcasting stations. It comprises of space station that receives microwave signals from Earth-based station, amplifies the signals, and broadcast signals back to any number of Earth-based stations. Networking software is a foundational element for any network. It helps administrators deploy, manage, and monitor a network. Software-defined networking separates the software from the hardware, making it easier to innovate and adapt the network to quickly meet changing network demands. It performs tasks that supplement, enable, or replace end-user software. All network softwares shares the common goal of increasing productivity and improving security for network users. We come to an end of this session. Thank you for listening. Now let us do the activities for today. Answer the questions posted in Blackboard discussion forum. Please remember to complete the previous activities as well. Thank you.